In the Pits is partnered with YI Paintball. Paintball, there's nothing like it. On the field or off, it's not just a sport, it's a community. The people, our people, come from all over, with vastly different lives during the week. But come time for paintball, we're one community, with a lot of stories about why. Follow YI Paintball on Instagram and meet the members of the paintball community. Learn about how they started, what their journey has been, and their ultimate why. Why paintball? What's your why? In the Pits is partnered with Pod Runners Union. Follow Pod Runners Union on Instagram to find strength in union and celebrate our sports pit crew. Send in photos to represent your union local and be featured. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these golden eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Skull Monkeys Paintball. Equip, engage, excel. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is sponsored by FU Athletics, created with a purpose and focused on building a better you. We are a brand that matters in your workout, and every purchase gives back to cancer research. Go to thefuathletics.com and use code INTHEPITS25 for 25% off of your order. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. Welcome, everybody, to episode 77 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we will have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Dallas Smith, I should say. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we are going in the pits with Wade Martin, owner of the Dallas Meanies. Wade, how are you doing this evening?
Good, good. How about yourself?
I'm doing. I wish I was better. I mean, but I've been fighting off a concussion this whole week. But we're gonna power through this. Especially for you, because your story is one of the cooler stories that have come out of Texas this year. So I want to give it the coverage it deserves.
I definitely appreciate it.
All right, so let's get started. This first question is brought to us by XTPL Events. So, for those listening that maybe don't know about you, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
Um, for about 6 years now. I started back in the 2017, 2018 time frame, and in Texas. I've been playing all over the country. Living in California, playing out there, and living in Oklahoma, playing up there, and then living down here. So I've been playing all over. But then Texas has been about since the beginning of 2018.
All right. So still quite young in your career. What are some
hmm
teams that you have been associated with over the years?
Um, Honestly, I just started in 2018 with Fox's Den when I ran the Texas chapter for that organization, and then decided to leave Fox's Den and start my own team with the Descendants, a scenario team here based out of Dallas. But we got players all over the country, and then started a Young Guns team with the Young Bucks up in Oklahoma City out of for the Bricktown Bucks, and then we left that and started my own team down here called the Dallas Meanies.
All right, yeah, and the Dallas Meanies, they're pretty new in this, right? I remember your tryout post. That was back in what, like mid September?
It was September. Yeah, we put the post out there to get some tryouts going. I was trying to undercut some of those other teams that were going to still finish out Cup and then start their tryouts right after Cup. So I was trying to get as many players as I could, and it worked. I got a lot of pretty good players and a decent sized squad right now.
Yeah, I could tell. I mean, you looked like you had a really good showing. You had what, 4 lines at this last event, which we'll get into in a little bit,
Yep.
but definitely a good showing, especially for a brand new team. So, this next question is brought to us by Skull Monkeys Paintball. So, tell us about what got you into paintball to begin with.
Well, the military. Back in 2000, 2004, I was stationed up at Tinker in Oklahoma City, and we were sitting in the dorms one day. I kid you not, hand to God. Me and my buddies were sitting in the dorm. We go, you know what? Let's go buy some paintball guns. So we did. And since I've been out of the military for a long time, I can say this, but we played in the dorms. We shot each other in our bedrooms. We shot the dorms up all the time, but we mostly played out on the outside the dorms, running around the complex there. That's what got me started back in 2001. I actually bought my first paintball gun from John Hubbard, who owns Avid up in Oklahoma City.
Oh, sweet. Man, that's a cool story. So you being in the military, have you ever gotten involved with veteran militia?
I have not. I'm part of the chat group or part of the Facebook group, but I have not gotten part of it. As a matter of fact, I talked to Jill this year about possibly earning my way up to play for the team over at Cup.
Okay, yeah, very cool. Well, if I remember correctly, then I don't mean your involvement in tournament paintball is about to ramp up quite a bit.
I hope so. I hope so.
So, yeah, this next question is brought to us by Pod Runners Union. So your PB Leagues profile is pretty fresh, but you've also been involved in the scenario scene with Team Descendants. So, how did you get involved with them?
Like I said, I used to run the Texas chapter for Fox's Den, and we decided to start our own thing because we weren't getting a lot of support from the other chapters around the country. They weren't coming out this way, so I just started to leave that organization and start my own. And the Oklahoma chapter came with me, and a few people from Arkansas came with me, and it just kind of grew from there. It's a lot of families, and that's what I'm about, is family and paintball.
Very sweet, and I enjoy that the family aspect, because we're gonna see that quite a lot, kind of throughout this episode, and yeah. So this next question brought to us by Bemraps, which is Brandon Ortega down in the valley. So I wasn't aware that scenario games had teams or organized teams. So when it comes to scenario games, is there like a competitive side to it? Like, do they track results and stuff throughout the year, or is it more so just an organized group that all attends events together?
It's kind of a mixture of both. Nothing gets tracked like who has the most kills or the most wins or anything like that. It's mostly an organized group of of family and friends that just want to go play some paintball. Everyone's trying to win. Obviously, nobody likes to lose. Everyone plays for the pennants. I don't play for the pennants. I enjoy getting them. My favorite pennant is always sportsmanship. Um, but I could care less about the pennants. I just want to play and have fun and have a good time. But it's mostly just an organized group of people that just want to have some fun.
Sweet. Yeah, I've never been to a scenario event. I know that there's a lot that goes on in Texas up at Official throughout the year, and I think there's one this weekend as well, right?
There is, and there's will be a few of us that are at it. So some of the meanies will be at it, but they'll be there as descendants. 'Cause some of the meanies play for the descendants. Um, I'm actually XOing for the blue side. We're going to go against Robert Jordan, who hates the blue side, but he's going to get over it. He's going to lose this game. And then one of our kids, the one of our 15-year-olds, is actually going to help ref the game. Of course, my two kids are going to play.
Very cool. So, as someone who's not very familiar in the scenario side, and maybe a lot of people listening as well, could you tell us a little bit more, like XOing? What does that mean exactly, and what all are you going to do as part of that?
So you got the commander and the XO. The commander's the head in charge, and then the XO is the second person in charge. And then the XO is basically helping herd the cats, if you will, helping get the missions complete because the XO or the commander can't do everything at one time. So he'll delegate stuff for me to do. He or she will delegate stuff for me to do. And I'm just trying to help them stay organized and send people where they need to go.
Gotcha. And is so whenever you're XOing, at least for this game anyway, about how many people would you say you're in charge of?
Um, the whole side. The XO and the commander basically split that responsibility. It's not really, hey, you go take care of those 20, I'll take care of these 20, or you go take care of them, I'll take care of them. It's a group effort. The commander gets the missions every hour or half hour, depending on the game and the situation that's going on. And he'll read them and he'll say, "Hey, Wade, can you take this mission, go get that group of guys and send them over to here to get this done?" And that's pretty much what we'll do.
Gotcha. So is it more of like you're at home base and you've got the map in front of you telling people over the radio where to go, or are you actually in the field participating as well?
So this game, no. Well, no and yes. The big scenario games where there's not session play, where it's continuous play, yes, we stay in the box. The commander and the XO will stay in the box unless the commander needs me to go do something. If the commander steps off the field, that's when the XO takes charge and is doing all the you go here, you do that stuff, and when the commander's off the field. But this game is more of a session play, so it's on for about an hour, hour and a half. I think I don't remember the schedule. Um, so your base actually moves each session. Each session you might start here at 1, the next session you'll start here at 2, then at 3, and so on and so on. So that game, the session play games, the XOs and the commanders actually get to play instead of just sitting in a box the whole time and telling people what to do.
Very cool. Yeah, I imagine that it's an honor, but it's also it's not you're not out there playing the whole time, so it's a bit like a job as well in that aspect.
It's a very big job, and that's all it is just one big job.
Well, that's cool that you get to do this. Is this your first time being on the officer side of it?
No, I actually stopped XO and commanding last year with wanting to start playing with my family some more. I got a 21, a 15, a 13, and a 9-year-old. My wife's just now getting into the game as well, so I want to play more with them. And the commanding and XO side of it, you don't really get to play with them as much. You get to just sit in that box, or you have to certain missions you have to go do. So this way, by stepping down from XO and commanding, I get to spend some time with the family on the field and actually have some fun and just shoot people with my kids. But this one, I owed a buddy a favor. He asked me. He's been begging to command an XO with me, so the opportunity came up, and I just couldn't tell him no.
Certainly understand that. Well, that's awesome that you're getting to do that this weekend. I wish you and your family and everybody else participating a whole lot of fun, and obviously bless the knees and bless the ankles and all of that during this as well.
Right.
All right. So this next question is brought to us by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. So just a few months ago, you posted tryouts for your new group, Dallas Meanies. So what made you want to make the jump from scenario into speedball tournament play?
Well, this is a good question. This one's very near and dear to my heart. I've had 2 kids on my scenario team. One, which is my son, who's 15. The other one is a Hadley. She's a up and comer, and she's just ruthless on the paintball field. So it actually started out with her brother. Her mom reached out to me back when I was running the Descendants. and actually it might have been Fox's Den, and said, "Hey, my son, he struggles with anxiety. We want to get him into a sport. He's not making friends, playing other sports. Can he come out and try playing for your team?" I said, "Absolutely, bring him out." And he's been with me ever since. Well, first couple times that he came out to play the scenario events, his sister Hadley was sitting there playing in the dirt, getting in trouble. She was, I believe, 9 or 10 at the time. She kept bugging me and her mom to play paintball. And I'm like, "You got to wait till you're 10. You got to wait till you're 10." So finally, we put a paintball gun in her hand, and it's been lights out ever since. She loves it more than he does, but they're both killers. They're both amazing kids. So my son and Hadley have been bugging me for years to play tournament paintball. And I just told them, "Guys, I play scenario. I'm a scenario guy. We don't have, you see how many scenarios we play. We don't have time for tournament paintball." Well, last year, after World Cup, I was driving home from an event up at Leet up in Kansas. We just ran and got some tacos. We were on our way home, and Hadley was in the car with me, and my son was in the car, and I was just thinking about it, and we were watching some of the replays from Cup, and the thought came across my mind: why don't I start a Young Guns team for these kids? So I did. Started talking around to some people because I didn't know much about tournament paintball. I can show you how to shoot a paintball gun, but I can't tell you how to hide behind that bunker and not get shot. So I called around. I talked to Nico Hyde. He wasn't sure if he was going to be playing or not, but to find out, he joined Diesel, so he was too busy. Called some other people. Talked to John Hubbard up there at Avid. I asked him. I said, "Hey man, do you have anybody that wants to help coach these kids? Kind of start this thing off right?" He says, "Yeah, me." So they welcomed us into the Bricktown Bucks organization, and we called them the Young Bucks. And they played some tournaments as Young Bucks. They had a good time. They had some good turnouts. But the Texas kids that were driving up to Oklahoma every other weekend, it was just kind of a bit much. I mean, it's a 4-hour drive for me down here in Dallas. So we kind of just stopped. I got with Gel and decided, hey man, I want to take these kids into tournament paintball. Should I talk to, Alex at TKO? Should I talk to the Shut Up guys? What should I do? And he told me, he's like, what if you join that organization and it doesn't work out? What if you don't fit in? Then you're just right back to square one. He told me, he says, hey, you have the wherewithal to start your own team and run a team because you do it with the scenario team with the Descendants. I said, yeah. He goes, why don't you start your own team? I was like, yeah, but I need a coach. He says, you got access to one of a pro coach already. I said, well, yeah, who's that? He goes, well, me. So we talked with Joe. Joe and I decided to start this team, and I talked to Crystal, which is Hadley's mom. I was like, what are we going to call the team? We've been talking with everybody because a few of the scenario kids came over, and we just at the same exact time both said the Meanies, because I'm just mean to people. So we just called ourselves the Meanies, and the rest is history from there, and we started the team.
Man, I love the explosion of the youth movement here in Texas. Like, even I think, what was it, 2022's Cup or 2021's Cup that had the youth exhibition?
I think it was 21.
And yeah, I think so. I know it was like very recent, and since then, like the amount of youth teams across the country have started to come up. I think in Texas we're up to like at least 5 now, I want to say. I know we've got Countdown in San Antonio. You've got the TKO line. You've got your line, the Dallas Meanies. I feel like I want to say Austin has a Young Guns, and definitely out the Houston's been trying to get one up. I know Outlaw Anodizing's been looking to put one together. So we've got a lot of different organizations that are really valuing the youth movement, and I think that's exactly what paintball is needed, because the big problem, or the big question, was how do we get new players into the game versus just, hey, we're just going to keep, like, sure, our retention rate's pretty good, but we're still not getting like the new players that we need. And the youth divisions, as they have come up, have been exactly that avenue to bring the kids in, but also like protect them from like these 40-year-old men who are just going to ramp on them the second that they get in, and like just as fast as they get in, that you find them exiting the game for good.
And that's the hard part with the kids teams, right? So my 9-year-old daughter plays on the Dallas Dolls. Lauren and Paula and a few other girls from Vibe run that team. And the first few practices, they had them turn their guns down to 250, psi, so it wasn't gonna, just completely take them out of the game and be like, oh no, if that hurts, I'm done. Um, and as time went on, they slowly turned the volume back up, or the velocity back up on the guns, and the kids now, like my 9-year-old, just takes it like a champ. And every now and then she'll get it in one of those tender spots, and she's like, I need to come off the field for a little bit, but she's right back on there, back with her friends practicing. And that's one thing I was trying to help the kids with when I started the Young Bucks, and then even now we are going to start a young gun line with the little meanies here real soon. But I don't want them going up against adults and just getting dunked on and shooting them at 290 psi, because it's just going to discourage them from playing. So I try to tell the kids, try a scenario event where it's 280 is the max, so we turn it down to about 270. And when I had Caden on my team, actually, I asked him, because he hates scenario. He just does not like playing scenario. And I asked him, I said, why? He's like, I don't know. Well, when I got him introduced into tournament paintball, he loves it. I mean, he wants to be on the field. He wants to learn. He doesn't care if he gets bunkered. I mean, it's like, wait a second. Tournament paintball, you're shooting almost 300 psi and you're getting bunkered from a foot away. How do you like that better than scenario where they're shooting 280 from the woods? Well, and he explained it to me perfectly. He said, because tournament paintball, it's coming at him. He knows exactly which way it's coming from. Scenario could be coming 360 degrees around you and you don't know where that's coming. It's more of a surprise. And I was like, you know what? Makes perfect sense. But we try to keep it gentle for the kids and then build them up into the 300 psi and the 280 psi for scenarios, just so that they're not discouraged and they want to quit right away.
Well, that definitely a great approach. I know that as far as the getting people in for the first time, for the longest time, it was just such a brutal barrier to entry that getting ramped on, especially back when the fire rate was at 12.2 or at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And now that you have all these extra things that are helping guide newer players kind of more gently into the game, like starting them off with things like Gel Blaster, things like the 50 cal, and these more divisions that are protecting these new players, like the D6 3-man that you guys competed in this past weekend. It's like, hey, we finally have what we need to welcome people into the game, and I'm super excited that you've taken this upon yourself to create this new way that welcoming the new players in. And I hope that a lot more that are listening, or maybe that are on the outside looking in, can kind of feel a little bit more confident in taking that step.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, it's a big commitment to play paintball. And one of the things that I strive for with these families is I want families to come out and play, because I've got both of my boys that play on my tournament team. My daughter plays on the dolls. My other daughter's not a real big paintball fan, but she'll play scenarios here and there. And then we're trying to get my wife to come play the MechX event. It's just she just until she does, she doesn't want to, but when she does, I know she's gonna be ruthless and she's gonna be fearless and tell us that she loves it, because, well, we all do, right? But that's just something I try to do, is I try to bring in these families and introduce them to the sport the right way. Not just go, hey, go do this, and you might get shot, you might not, but if you do, take it like a champ and move on. So we just try to do it the right way.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of families, this next question is brought to us by Paintball Kumite. You've got a lot of different families involved in your organization. You've got 3 different parent-child combinations, one of those being yourself with your 2 sons. And then you've also got the brother-sister duo with Hadley and her older brother. So how was it exactly that you recruited these new players? Did they all come from the Young Bucks, or did you bring any new players in when you created the Dallas Meanies? And was it always a focus of yours to have family at your core?
My focus is always family. One thing I struggled with my 15-year-old son is, and even my 21-year-old, is what can we do together? I grew up a bowler. I've bowled almost my whole life. My kids hate bowling, only because when we get on the lanes, I'm extremely competitive. They don't like it. I don't have fun when I'm on the bowling alley because I take it serious. Well, I had to take a step back from bowling, and when COVID started, I just stepped back away and I haven't picked up a bowling ball since. But paintball to me is something I can do with my kids and my wife and my family, and having them out there, it's just something we can share together. My 15-year-old talks a lot of crap when he shoots me or his older brother out, and we just let him do it and let him. He's 15, but these other guys, these other groups, they all play on my scenario team, every single one of them. We have a few new people that join the team when I put the tryout out there. But all the family duos do play on my scenario team, except for the Lockwoods. They did play on my scenario team, but they took a step back from scenario to concentrate on tournament paintball. But yeah, we're all about families, and because I understand the commitment. My 9-year-old is also very a competitive gymnast, so both my teams know that the months of December, January, February, and March, if my daughter comes first, if she's got a gymnastics competition, I'm not going to that tournament. So they need to take care of it and do it themselves. But so I'm all about family, I always will be, and that's what uh, matters to me. So the commitment with paintball, and especially tournament paintball scenario, you just show up and you play. You don't practice scenario, you just go and play, and that's it. Well, tournament paintball, you have to practice, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. Well, having those families, we have commitments. We have other things that we're committed to. Jobs, full-time jobs. The kid may play other sports, or they may have a sister brother that doesn't like paintball but plays another sport. So I don't get on to the guys or the girls or the families or anybody who's on the team not making that practice. I know they're going to put the time in at another place at another time, but I'm not one of those teams where this is a practice schedule. You'll show up or you're off the team. I understand. I'm a realist. I understand that life is going to happen. Now, there are situations where you just can't help them. So that's why I like the family aspect of it, because I can't make every single thing either because of my family as well.
Well, there's merits to both styles, but I like that Division 6 3v3 is the division that y'all competed in. And for that, which is intended to be like, hey, welcome to the sport. You're going to start getting your feet under you, figure out how exactly your equipment works, the very basic like mechanics of how to hold your marker and to move, and like all of the core basics there. And it's, you're not looking to play Saturday, Sunday, learning the layout, learning your lanes, learning bounce shots, any of that at that level. And yeah, and maybe some of your players go on to want that greater involvement, but having this as kind of that first stepping stone is, once again, like just being another steward of the game, welcoming new members in, and not being a barrier to entry.
Sure, for sure. And it's funny you say that about moving on to greater things. Like my guys know that I want to build this organization. I want to be competitive, but I want to have fun. If we're not having fun, what's the point of playing, right? So I've told all my guys, I want to be competitive. I want to be the next Shut Up. I want to be the next TKO. I want to be on those podiums at those national tournaments, getting those rings and those medals and those banners. And that's what I want for this team. But at the same time, I don't want to take the fun out of it. And if I'm not having fun or someone's not having fun, then we're doing it wrong. Because if you're not having fun playing a sport, then what are you doing, wasting your time and your money and, your weekends and stuff like that, putting the time in for the sport? But it's, I never expected this. I thought we have all D6 players, maybe a couple D5s because of the points from the season, but we actually have a D4 line. Nothing I've announced in the past, but we've added a few people in the last week or two, and we do have a D4 line that we will be competing in D4 stuff here in the very near future.
Ooh, some breaking news there. We'll definitely get into more of that here in a second. But I do want to focus on your D6 lines that competed this past weekend. So this one's brought to us by YI Paintball. So the Dallas Meanies first event was a huge success. You competed in the Frostbite Texas State Championship 3-man. In D6, you entered 3 separate lines, the Dallas Meanies, and then the gold and the silver line as well. And then you also put a line in the novice 3v3 division. So in D6, y'all took your gold line took first place and your silver line took second place. So how would you say the first event as an organization went? And how did it feel taking home both gold and silver at your first event as a team?
Well, this is a tough question for me to answer. It was great. Don't get me wrong, it was great. However, with my other D6 line finishing last and my novice line finishing 10th out of 12th, that's what I'm focused on. It's what, how can I get them better? How can I get them to the first and second podiums? Don't get me wrong, winning first and second was definitely not on my radar. I mean, we're a brand new team. We've had two actual official practices with each other so that way we can mesh and figure things out. And then when I saw we were going to play against Shut Up, I was like, yeah, I hope one of the team podiums. I never thought we'd finish first and second. And then going through the prelims, my line, the silver line that finished second, how convenient. But we lost our first 2 points, and then we won one or two, and then lost one, and then we won the rest. The first line lost their first point as well. So I'm like, man, this is going to be brutal. But I think we were just knocking off the rust, the nervousness, the scaredness. Um, After we did that, we went through prelims. My line ended up 6-3, and then the other line ended up 7-2, which put us in second and fourth seeded, and then Shut Up was in first and third seeded. So obviously fourth plays one, two plays three. So I was hoping for a Meanies prelim, so that way somebody was going to podium. Well, when it ended up being Shut Up Meanies, I was like, oh no, this is going to be brutal. And then we didn't realize it was a best of three. We thought it was just 1 point, we're done. So we go out there and play our point. We win. We're like, holy crap, we're in the championship. We're all celebrating. Then all of a sudden, like, nope, it's best of three. I was like, oh crap. So then next line goes out there and gets their win, and then we knock Shut Up out of the tournament, out of the championship, and we both go to the championships. And I told John Lockwood actually came up to me right before the semis and said, hey, you go play the point, get us into the championship. I said, okay. So I go out there and play the first point, we win. I told him he can play the second point, and I'll play the third if we needed it. But once we made it to the championship, as a team owner, I couldn't have been any more happier for those guys. So I'm like, guys, just go play. I don't need to play the championship. You guys did the work to get us here. Go play the championship. Whether you win or lose, we all win. We got first and second place, right? So they did. They went play the championship, and I'm in cloud nine in the background, trying not to tear up because these guys made me so happy. And it was a good weekend for us. But again, I struggle with why those other two teams didn't finish as well, right? Um, so I've been focusing on what I can do to help them get better over the last couple of days. At the same time, celebrating the first and second place win.
Well, these are all things that you at the very top have to think about, but it's awesome that you're having that approach where you're happy for your organization's success, but at the same time, like how do we make it even better experience for everybody? Uh, and this next question is actually brought to us by you, our brand new sponsor for this show, 71 Designs. So you obviously played on the silver line with one of your sons, who also had another father-son duo, John and Hunter Lockwood. But even bigger news there is that the team that you played against in the finals, which was the gold line, had your other son Carson, and you also told me that your MVP for the event was also your youngest player in the organization that played that weekend, which was Hadley, who is 13 years old, and earlier in the tournament played and beat the other Dallas Meanies line that had her older brother on it. So what was that finals match like, matching up against your own players?
It was weird. It honestly was very weird. I'd never had anything like that happen before, but yeah, it was very fun. I mean, fun and weird at the same time. But once we got into those semis, I was just, the fact that we got out of prelims for two lines. Again, cloud nine. I'm like, I didn't expect this. We did great for our first tournament, and then we end up in the championship, and I'm just like, holy crap! Like, how did this happen? But yeah, the two Lockwoods, and then me and my son on our line, and then my son and Hadley on the other line. I was more excited for Hadley and Carson because those are the two kids that I did this for. Meanies were made and created because of those two kids. My son and Hadley both have aspirations of playing professional paintball. And we've known Joe for a while. Carson's gone up there and watched Diesel practice, and he's just in awe every time. He's really good friends with Nico Hyde. As a matter of fact, every time they get together, they get a picture together, and it's just one of those things that those two do. And Hadley has aspirations of playing on Vibe. So I made the team. I made Paintball Fit our home field just so I can introduce those kids to that pro mentality. The Paintball Fit guys are amazing to us. The Vibe Girls are amazing to us as well. I mean, Lauren and Kelly Gillard, they actually play on the Meanies, as a matter of fact. We're working on one of the other girls right now, and she's waiting to tell me yes or no if she wants to play, but that's part of the D4 line. But those two are the reason I did this, and I was ecstatic to watch them both win the championship because when they played on the Young Bucks and other kids lines, they would always finish in the bottom and they would get discouraged because maybe there were two kids in there that actually could play paintball, and then there was one kid that was a beginner, but that doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you can play paintball or not. I'm going to get you on the field to play. They would get frustrated because they thought they weren't getting the help, or they weren't getting their backs covered. Well, when those two won, that's this past weekend, I was excited for those two. The other two guys on the team that won, they're old guys. They've won stuff before, but I was excited for those two kids because they've been putting in work for 2 years now, and they deserved it. And for Hadley to win the MVP as a 13-year-old girl, I don't think anyone out there knew that she was a 13-year-old girl, because if you look at her, she's 5'6" and she looks like she's a grown-up. I mean, she's taller than some of the women out there, and she's ruthless on the field. She does not play like a 13-year-old kid. I mean, she plays like she's been playing the sport for a long time. But yeah, that's why I was happy for those two.
Well, making your home field paintball fit, you're definitely surrounded by very good company there from top to bottom. And yeah, it's goodness, playing your first event as the youngest on the team. You're a 13-year-old girl. You're playing up against your older brother and some adults that are playing, and you go out and you're the best player at the event. That's quite the experience, especially for your first time. And I'm excited to see what's next for y'all. And here in the chat, we've got Elgin Plays and Hunter is better saying Silverline come back. And you've got Matthew Parker in the chat asking if he can play as well. Not sure. I'm sure that you know some of those names right there.
I know all of them. Two of them do play on the team, and Matt plays on one of our sister scenario teams. He plays on the Dallas Rage. Actually just finished up their design for their jerseys today, as a matter of fact. But he's a scenario guy, and he dabbles in the tournament world here and there.
Love it. All right. So for those of y'all in the chat, we're getting towards the end of our episode. So if you have any questions you want to ask Wade, go ahead and get them in now. Crazy Grace H says, hi, Wade, in the chat.
Hello.
So this next question is brought to us by Hydra. So looking to the future, what's next for the Dallas Meanies? I know you said a little bit about your Division 4 line. So what events and what divisions will we see you compete in next season?
We will be playing all of the XTPLs at FIT. We definitely will be playing all the US XBLs also as well. I know there's one in San Antonio, there's two at FIT, and I think there's a third one that is up in the air of the location, but we will be playing all of those. We're hoping to play NXL Dallas because it's in our backyard. Why not? We don't have to travel for it. There's some talk about possibly going to Cup. That's going to be a kind of a game time decision, depending on if we want to spend the money to go out there, depending on how we do and how we've been doing all year long. And maybe a couple Bunker Fests. I haven't looked at the schedule to see if it interferes with anything with XTPL or US XBL. But for the most part, a lot of local stuff. And possibly those two NXLs. But yeah, we have the D6 stuff with all the beginners. We'll obviously have to play up with D5 if they don't have a D6 a portion of the tournament. I've got a few guys that are D5, and then I got a few guys that are D4. And the D4 thing, I was just going to have them bump down and play D5, but we added quite a few D4 players, so we will have a true D4 line. I think I have one person that's actually D3 that he'll bump down to D4. He'll be the one player on D4. I have to look into that. I'm not 100% sure because he wasn't sure about his points. So we will have a D4 line next year, and a bunch of beginners.
Sweet. I mean, that's one of the great things of being up in the Dallas area where you are, is just there's always some great events happening just right in your backyard pretty much every other weekend at this point. Between XTPL, USXBL, Bunker Fest, there's a lot to choose from, and they're all pretty high quality too.
Absolutely. FIT. I can't say enough about Paintball FIT. I've lived here in the Metroplex since 2011. And I've always been told, go to FIT, and just, I was a scenario guy. I wasn't a tournament guy, and I had no interest in tournament paintball whatsoever. I went to fit out there for the first time last year. Actually, would have been this year with the Young Bucks, and I was just in awe. JD, Sarah, Brody, Colt, Johnny, the entire Lucal family, the entire Paintball Fit family, the entire Vibe family. Everybody out there has been nothing but helpful. They've been amazing. JD took a chance on sponsoring us. Just Johnny and JD took a chance on sponsoring us right out of the gate without having any experience playing tournament paintball whatsoever. My team loves their joggers. We love their knee pads. I'm not a knee pad guy. I've just been in the scenario world, but the pants have a little bit of cushioning in them. But when I put their knee pads on, and I'm not just saying this because they're a sponsor of ours. I would say this even if they weren't. They make the best knee pads in the game. And if you don't have any, go get some.
Well, I've got one of each of their pairs of knee pads, and I can totally agree with you on that one.
They're amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So this next question is brought to us by Get Dat Shot. Message him on Facebook or Instagram. That's GetDat_shot. If you're needing media coverage at all next season, he's going to be at the full series for NXL and at the full series for USXBL as well. So Wade, this is a question that I ask everybody that comes on the show. And it's to help me kind of get the word out on any up and comers or anybody that's flying under the radar there. So is there anybody in Texas, either teams, players, brands, or projects that have caught your attention lately? Who do you think deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
Oh man. Geez, everybody. There's one team, Dirty by Design. Jimmy Burden. He's to be a scenario player. He dabbles in both. He does tournament and scenario. But he started his own company. I know, can't think of it, paintball.com, P8. Is it Hudson? Yeah, Hudson, I believe is his name.
Hudson.
He's doing amazing things. He's out there hustling, and you got to respect the hustle. But those are the two new ones that I've been noticing here lately. Doing a lot of up and coming stuff, but yeah, those two.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So here in the chat, we've got Elgin Plays asking, Wade, what's for dinner?
Tell them tacos.
Yep. I'm seeing a lot of taco emojis in the chat already. It's Stein 1201 says, shout out Wade for providing me a team to play on after leaving Oklahoma City. There is no greater human than this man right here.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, Justin. You don't gotta say that, man. I'm all about helping out where I can. One thing that my company and I do, and the sport's expensive. We all know. We all have the gear. What I try to do is I've collected gear over the years. I try to hand out gear as much as I physically possibly can, especially to the kids. Every event I go to, I'm trying to give out something. It may be a pair of gloves. That kid gets shot in the hand and it hurts. I may have a pair of gloves in my bag and I'll just go grab them and give them to the kid. But yeah, Justin's a good dude.
For sure. All right. So we're here just about at the end. This final question is brought to us by someone that you're familiar with, Jell Stewart's brand Compete. So message him on Facebook or Instagram. Mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So Wade, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Christian. When I got your message yesterday, I was very, very shocked. I never expected this in a million years. Paintball in Texas is definitely growing. Shout out to our sponsors, Paintball Fit, Hydra, Compete, 71 Designs. Welch doesn't support me, doesn't sponsor us, but they support us, and I will support them just like I do the other sponsors. Yeah, that's about it, Christian. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. I mean, your story and what y'all were able to do this past weekend was awesome. I think a great storyline there, and just really encouraging for the future of the game. So I want to make sure to feature stories like y'all's, and hopefully there's more out there that we're going to learn about. Just anybody that's welcoming new players into the game, especially kids. Y'all are. I'm definitely a fan of y'all wherever you are. So as we learn more about stories like this, I definitely want to do my part and feature y'all.
Absolutely, and also one last thing, we'll be if you're under 15, get a hold of me. We'll add you to the team.
All right, there we go. Yeah. So John Lockwood in the chat says, Wade for president 2024. Thank you, Wade, for all that you do for us. We've got some tacos from Lawrence Salinas saying, let's go Meanies as well. You got to tell me what's with the tacos here.
So Elgin in the chat, this kid, I tell you what, he's another scenario guy that wanted to dabble in into tournament paintball. And he found me at the Brand up in Oklahoma City at one of the scenario events, and Joe and I were just talking with him, and he was talking about how he wanted to get into tournament paintball. And Joe kind of looked at me, and I looked at Joe, and I said, so how serious about this tournament paintball thing? And he says, well, I'm pretty serious. I said, well, I'm literally starting a team. And the rest is history. Well, Sam likes to change our team chat, the little emoji icon with the smiley faces. He likes to change it to tacos. Well, that's where the tacos comes from.
I love it. All right, y'all. So I think that's going to do it for our episode. So again, Wade, thank you so much for your time, and everybody online, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to go follow the Dallas Meanies. That's at Dallas_Meanies on Instagram. What other guests would you like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. I want to give a shout out to my partner and sponsor to your subscribers, FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, Bem Wraps, Skull Monkeys Paintball, Hydra, XCPL Events, YI Paintball, Mariachi Águilas de Oro, Podrunners Union, and our newest one, 71 Designs. So I actually have 2 announcements to make here at the end of our show. First, go sign up for the Joust. I'm throwing it this weekend. Going to be at X Factor Paintball Park on Sunday. I think we still have like 18 spots open. So we have 22 players signed up. We have over 50 prizes. I just today got in this fat stack of Hormesis dual coins. Let's see, behind me right here on the chair, we've got Alex Martinez jersey, which is going to be up for grabs. We've got a bunch of other stuff coming in. So go sign up for the Joust. And the other thing is YouTube has accepted the channel and into the YouTube partner program. And now we're going to have channel memberships starting here pretty soon. So that's going to, if you become a member on the YouTube channel, which I believe is set to like $4 or $5 a month, I gotta see exactly what it's set to. You'll get some custom emojis, and also I'm going to start doing a weekly, I'm going to call it a spicy question, where throughout the episode, if you're tuning in live, you get to vote on one spicy question to ask the guest, and they've got to answer it. So yeah, we're going to start that hopefully here next week. So we will see you then for episode 78, where we're going to have Anthony Vitale, who is the owner of Team USA, the owner of the WNXL Pro Team, the Heroines, and also the owner of BKI Paintball. So a man that's very connected within paintball as a whole. So it's going to be great to get him on, and we'll see you next week. Wade, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Christian.